have a look at the IELTS speaking subtest, and today we're going to cover the part 2 section of this speaking subtest. Okay, so I hope all of you are here for this live session, and I welcome you all for this. So we'll start with the first few slides, which will give you a basic introduction about the part 2 section. And here you can see we are going to have a look at the overview, where you will be getting an understanding about the part 2 section and what are the things that are being involved in these part of sections. And first of all, you can see in the screen it is mentioned in IELTS speaking part 2, you give a talk in which you should be prepared to speak for 2 minutes. The examiner will ask you to speak for 1 to 2 minutes. Ignoring this, mainly it is because 1 to 2 minutes is like a common time frame which is given for the candidate to speak, but approximately 2 minutes is the time which you have to speak for the examination. Nothing less than that is much appreciable for the examination, because if the examiner is trying to stop you between 2 minutes, then it's fine, but mainly if you are stopping between these 2 minutes, and if you are not able to speak properly, there are certain things which might hinder your speaking, so we'll talk about it in later. But if you are stopping in between this 2 minutes time frame, then it will be considered as a negative marking for you. You will be getting a less band score. So try to speak for complete 2 minutes. And next thing it is mentioned, that is, it's your chance to show your examiner how well you can talk for an extended period of time. Okay, so while you are attending this examination, when you reach the part 2 section, there are certain things you have to look forward. That is, first is you should not be hesitant to speak. Mainly this hesitation is a problem for those people who are having a lot of idea, but still yet they have a fear to speak in front of the people. Like, they might be assuming that they will judge them on the basis of their understanding, or they will get a less score if they stop in between, so they might be a bit hesitant to speak. Okay, another problem is like repetition. Mainly in this part 2 section, candidates repeatedly repeat the same answer, same type of a sentence 1 or 2 more times. So that is easy for the listener to catch, but as a candidate, it will be very difficult for us to understand that we are repeating words, because we will be so much into that time frame, and we'll be thinking about the time is going out, and because of that we will be repeating the words more than once or twice. Okay, so that is one of the problems that most of the people might face. So there are certain tips which you can follow in order to avoid this tampering, or in order to avoid this humming between the speaking. Okay, so in this you have to speak for 2 minutes, and the preparation time you will be getting for this part 2 section will be 1 minute of time. So 1 minute, usually we think it is 1 minute and we will be getting sufficient time to prepare, but it's not like that. You should always consider 1 minute as 60 seconds. Okay, then you will understand the importance of that time frame. So whenever you get the time to prepare, there's nothing much you can do at that time. Like, you're not supposed to write it completely about the topic which you're going to talk, or you're not supposed to write everything which you're going to talk. There is a certain way in which you are going to do that thing. The first and foremost thing is to understand the question. Okay, so for example, if you're getting a question like describe a person, or describe a famous person who you admire. Okay, so in this case, the question will be like, who is that person, what are the qualities of that person you admire, from where you got to know him, and what is the effect of that person in your life, and what are the qualities you might have got from that person into your life. So these kind of questions will be there in the sub point. So you have to carry on these questions, and you have to talk about all these questions answer while you're giving the speaking subtest. Okay, so one thing you can do there is, first of all, you have to understand that this question is not completely like related to your knowledge. So you should be giving the answer according to your understanding, and whatever thought or whatever idea you have, you should always represent it properly in front of the listener. Okay, that is the examiner who is sitting in front of you. So next thing we can see here, the examination mainly focuses on that candidate if he is able to speak for an extended period of time. They are not going to check how much knowledge you have on that particular topic, or what are the things you are going to say. It is somehow dependent for your score, like it is not that much more important, but still you should be talking for extended period of time of 2 minutes, so you should not be hesitant, or you should not have frequent pauses during that speaking time. Okay, so while speaking for the extended period of time, these are the things which you have to look forward for. And looking for the next page, you can see here some tips or strategy that you can follow for to tackle this task too. Okay, so before continuing further, I would like to welcome you all, Raisa, Sonia and Joy. Good afternoon, and I welcome you for the live session. So let's continue with this. That is a strategy. So first one is make notes under the heading introduction, past, description, opinion and future. Okay, so I hope you all have heard about the PPF technique that is mostly on a lot of other YouTube videos, and other people, those are the mentors or other your teachers might have also told you. I also got this idea when I was preparing. So at that time, I got to know about PPF technique. Okay, so PPF is like present, past, and future, or past, present, and future. So whenever you're talking about a topic, you should always consider the past, present, as well as the future about that topic. Okay, for example, if I ask you a topic related to a movie, okay, so I might ask you like, describe a movie that you like to watch, or describe a movie that you like to watch a lot. Okay, so that is a question. So you have to consider about the past, the present, and the future. Okay, so you have to think, what is that movie? First of all, you have to bring up with a movie in your mind in which you can speak for at least 2 minutes. Okay, for which you can speak at least 2 minute time you have to cover for this. So try not to think about any what we can say, if you're not able to understand a movie or any specific movie which is very hard for you to understand, so do not consider that movie into this list. Try to talk about a movie which is very easy to understand or which you have watched many times. So in that case, you'll be able to speak a lot during that speaking subtest. So in the past, present, and future technique, you have to consider about the past. That is, if you have watched that movie in the past. So you can say something like, I still remember a movie which I used to watch when I was a child. The name of the movie is Toy Story. For example, you can use the movie name Toy Story. So that movie might have any kind of what we can say memory in your life, like when you are a child, you used to watch that movie and you used to watch it in the morning. Every Sundays it used to be telecasted on the television, so you can say it that way. Next, you can talk about the present. If you have watched that movie recently, or if you have watched any of the part of that movie recently, and then you can continue saying like, I still remember I used to watch a movie called Toy Story when I was a child. It was a very pleasant moment for me, and at that time I used to enjoy that movie a lot. Even if I watched that movie more than once, still I enjoy that movie a lot. And recently, when I got a leave from my job and I was staying at my home, it was Sunday, the same movie was telecasting on the television, and I was very surprised and excited. I got nostalgic when I watched that movie again. It gave me memories from my childhood, and it was also a cheerful situation for me, and me and my family members all sit together and watch that movie. So in this way, you can talk about present as well as the past. Okay, so first you will be looking towards the past, then you will be considering the present, and then afterwards you can talk about the future. Okay, so talking about future for every topic is not that possible, but for this topic or some certain kind of topics, you can usually easily can add future, like what can have what is going to happen or what will happen in the future. This kind of things you can add there. So talking about the movie in Toy Story, you can easily add the word called you can say, yes, you can say like the movie will be having another part in the future. Like for example, currently the movie's fourth part is being released. So you can say the movie will be telecasting the fifth part in the future, and I'm very excited for it. And I'm looking forward to watch that movie in the future. So that is one of the things which you can present there. Okay. So that is all about the make notes under the heading introduction, past, description, opinion, and future. So you have to consider present, past, as well as the future. Okay, yes. So I hope that the first strategy is clear to you all. Is there any doubts related to the first strategy? Okay, I will appreciate your comments, and if anybody have any doubts or anything, I will surely appreciate it, and I'm very glad to clear that out. So please ask your doubts in the chat box. Okay, so using a lot of vocabulary is not at all that much important if we look at the examination point of view. It is important, yet the examiner is not going to look how advanced words you're using, or how what we can say different kind of words you're using while the examination. It will somehow give a positive effect to the examiner. But the main criteria there is how you're going to present your ideas. Okay, how you are properly structuring the ideas, and how you're making a proper structure and you're presenting it in front of a person. Okay, that is very important. And related to the vocabulary part, if you are looking forward to get a higher band score more than 7.5 or 8, at that point of time, it is very important to add a lot of complex sentences and vocabularies. At that time, it is very important. But if you are targeting somewhere between 6 to 7, so you should be always aware about what is your main target is. Okay, so if you're targeting for 7 or 7.5, at that time, vocabulary is important, but yet we should not be using any words which is new to us. Okay, it will be very what we can say, it will be a very, you will be in a dilemma in the examination. Like if you're using any difficult word and if you're not able to properly use it in the right place, you will make the sentence completely wrong. Okay, So to avoid that, I would like to say that do not use any words which you are listening for the first time. You can use some words which you already know. Like mainly we have understanding about a lot of different words, but yet it is not in our subconscious mind, so we are not using it on our day-to-day life. Okay, so we all use a word called happy. So happy is a word which we use in every situation. I'm very happy and I'm happy to go there and I'm happy to be with you. So these are the things which you can use in a very positive situation. But there are other words like pleasant, or you can say joyful. So these are the words also which have the similar meaning. We can call it as a synonym. So you have the similar meaning of these words, but yet we all know this word, but we don't use it in our day-to-day life because it is not in our subconscious mind. We already know about it, but still we are not using it. So the main reason that we cannot use this, we are not able to use it in the examinations or in the preparation time test, because mainly we are not using it on a day-to-day basis and it is not that much familiar to us. So that is the problem. Okay, so using vocabulary is a good thing if you can, but I would like to say start with using basic words, basic sentences. Try to learn how you can make a proper sentence and how you can use a complex sentence while speaking. That will really help you. Okay. Yes. So is there any other doubts? I think Raisa, your doubt is clear. Okay. So we are going towards the next point that comes up to towards vocabulary. So use of correct tenses and vocabulary. I hope I have already explained it by the doubt of this Raisa. And the vocabulary part is a really important thing for your speaking test. So do not try to add a lot of complex vocabulary. Try to add common sentences that you can use in the examination. Okay. Next thing, talk about what you are talk about what you are comfortable with. You don't have to cover everything on the card. So for example, we already know that you will be getting sub points in the part 2 section, and usually we try to complete each and every sub point while we are speaking, but it is not that much important to complete all the sub points. If you are comfortable with the cue card and if you know each and everything which is mentioned there, you can make your own sentences. Okay, and some of the people might also teach you to go in sequence, like if any sub point is given to you in the examination, you are being told to use it in the same format and to properly go on through that. So it is not that much important. You can even skip a sub question. It is not that much of a problem, but still you should be aware how you can properly make a sentence with it and how you can easily deliver your ideas throughout the examination. Okay, next thing, be confident. If you need the examiner to report something, just ask. Okay, repeat something, just ask. Okay, that is also a common thing. I hope everybody know that if the examiner is asking you any particular question and if you don't understand that question properly, you can ask him to repeat or rephrase. Okay, repeat usually is used whenever you haven't heard properly that word. At that time you can ask to repeat. But if the meaning is not clear and if you haven't understand a certain word during the examination, you can ask the examiner to rephrase the question. Okay, that is also a one thing you can do. Then yeah, next strategy is to practice English and English language. Basically it is very important to practice a lot. It will help you to properly speak on any given scenario. Practicing is the one of the best things that you could do to improve your language skills. Okay, so try to speak at your home, at your classes, at wherever you are. Try to use this language as much as you can, and find official speaking questions and improve your skills. That is also very important you can do. So practice is very important. Like if you are preparing for any examination, especially in the IELTS exam, at least 70% of the thing you have to do by yourself. 30% is all what you are getting from the outsources. So maximum effort you have to put during the examination. Then only especially this language will be familiar to you. Okay, yes. And I'm going to change the slide. If there is any doubt related to this strategy, you can ask me here. Okay, so I hope this slide, everything mentioned here about the strategy is clear to all. Okay, in the next slide, we are going to look at sample question. You can call it as an example of the part 2 section. So the question describes as a favorite means of transport that you should, like usually we use a lot of these kind of transportation techniques like trains, buses, or we can even use our own vehicle. All these are the means of transport that we use in our day-to-day life. So you can easily mention any of them. So first of all, we have to understand the word that is given here, describe. Describe is usually given here to make you understand that you have to talk in detail about a particular topic. Mainly people go off topic and they are only concentrating on the other things while speaking about a topic. It is not that much entertained with the examination. Usually that is the main reason most of the people are not qualifying the IELTS speaking subtest. They think they have a proper vocabulary, they are properly speaking and they are fluent in English, yet they are not able to get a proper band score. It's mainly because you are going off topic a lot. Okay, so try to stick to the topic and try to maintain your pace. Try not to be a lot faster. Try not to be a lot slower. You have to maintain a proper pace, and you should be fluent while speaking in the part 2 section. Okay, so when you get this question, along with that, you will also get some sub points. That is, what is it, when and how do you use it, why you use it, and the last one, explain why it is your favorite transport. Okay, so I'll give you all at least 10 seconds to just go through this question, and if you have any doubts in this question or related to this sub point, you can ask in the chat box. Okay. I don't see a lot of comments here, so I would like to ask each and everyone who is watching this session to comment and ask your doubts. Okay, so first thing you have to do here, you can see here, this is the first question that is asking you to describe what that means of transport is. Okay, so the first question usually is related to that question itself, so that might not take a lot of time for you to answer. So whenever you start the part 2 section, the first and foremost important thing is to start with a proper introduction. Okay, do not jump directly into the topic. Try to start with a proper introduction. Okay, Raisa, it is really important to cover all the sub questions, but if you are not able to complete it in the given time, but you have spoken properly, and if you have a proper fluency and you are able to construct the sentence properly, then it is not that much of a problem. You will be getting a score even if you have not completed any of the sub point. But still, like, not any of the, like, any even one of the tasks, if you're not completed, it's okay, but still try to complete it at the given time. It will be beneficial for you and it will give you a positive lead in the examination. Okay. Okay, Veena is asking that in this question, shall I give any introduction? Okay, giving an introduction for a part 2 question is a very good thing that you can do in order to increase your band score. Okay, basically an introduction is all about your preference. Basically you can start as your preference, or you can say a random introduction for this related to transport. Like, if I get this question in the examination, I would like to start the introduction as, personally I like to go to a lot of places, and I'm a person who like to travel a lot, and I use transportation, or I can use public transport as my primary source, a primary preference. So in that way also you can speak like what you prefer while choosing a means of transport. And if you like your own vehicle, you can also say, I prefer my own vehicle for the means of transport. So that is the one thing that you can say here in the introduction. You can easily start the conversation or start the question with the help of your preference, like, if, do you prefer to travel or not, like, or you can say, I'm not a person who like to travel a lot, so I don't usually prefer public transport. Whenever I get a time or whenever I have to travel, I usually prefer my own vehicle. In that way also you can start. So the first question is satisfied there, that is, what is it. Next, when it comes to the second question, it is asking when and how often do you use it. So if you are a student or if you are a working person, you might be using transportation on a regular basis. Like, if you are going to the office, if you are going to school, college, at that time mostly we go by our own vehicle, or we use public transport like bus or train. Okay, so this is also a question which you can easily answer in 1 or 2 lines. That is, there's no much thing to talk about it. Next, why you use it. So this is the place where I already mentioned that you have to explain why you use that means of transport. So if you're a person who is going for regular trips, and if you like to travel a lot to different kind of places, then it might be related to your interests. So you can say, I'm a travel enthusiast. I like to go to different places, and traveling is my main hobby. So I use my own vehicle, my bike, to go anywhere I want. I go to different places on my weekends. I like to spend my time in what we can say in hills or in any of the places that you can describe. So that is what you can say here in this part, like why you use this means of transport. And if you are a student or you're a working person, you can also use it to go to your workplace or your study center. Okay. Yes, idioms are a good thing to use, Raisa. If you are aware about a proper idiom which you can use in this place, you can surely go for that. That's a good thing. Talking about the next and last sub point, that is, explain why it is your favorite transport. Yes, you can start this question by telling your interest. Like, well, it's an interesting question. I would like to travel by train. Yes, you can start this by that statement. Like I said, there's nothing like you are going to be restricted to speak about. You can say whatever you want. You can start the speaking subtest by saying your own preferences or your interest or your whatever thing you like about that thing. You can start by that way itself. So there won't be any kind of a limitation what you're going to say or what you are not supposed to say. Okay. So talking about the last point, so last points are usually the sub points which we are going to talk a lot about. Okay, so basically when you look at the first one, second one and the third one, these three will not cover at least 1 minute of the examination, because in this you are mentioning about the means of transport. It will take at least 1 or 2 sentences. Next one, when and how often do you use it? So when you are going to talk about these kind of things, you can add a situation there. Okay, so the situation here is you are going to work, so you can explain about that. My workplace is far away from my home, so I usually have to travel for 15 kilometers or 20 kilometers to go to my workplace. So I usually prefer public transport because it is very cheap, it is very convenient, and it is very easy to travel for a long distance. Okay, these kind of words are very easy, very helpful for you to use whenever you are going to describe such kind of a subpoint. Next one, why you use it. So here you have to explain why you use that particular means of transport. That is also a small sentence that you're going to use there. I use it to go to my job or my workplace, that as I already mentioned. So while talking about that part of the second subpoint, the third subpoint will also be covered in that same one. And the remaining time, that is approximately 1 minute of time, will be remaining for you to speak about the last subpoint. Okay, so when you're talking about the last subpoint, it is very important for you to speak in detail. Okay, so this last subpoint carries a lot of information that you're going to say. So first and foremost thing, if you're using a transport, convenience is a very important thing. If the transport is convenient to you, you can mention that it is cheaper. Like public transports are way cheaper, very convenient. Moreover, we can go anywhere we want and without any hassle. These are the words you can use while explaining this last subpoint. Okay. So moving towards the next one, I will be showing you some vocabulary words that will really help you to speak for that particular topic that we have already discussed. So the first one is affordable. So when you're talking about a transport or a means of transport, first and foremost thing that comes in our mind is the affordability. Okay, if that means of transport is affordable or we can easily access it. So these are the things which are first of all we get in our mind. So affordability is very important. So the meaning of affordable is inexpensive or reasonably priced. So if you are, for example, if you are buying a cloth, okay, if you're buying a cloth or a shirt, you're buying a shirt. So if you call it affordable, that doesn't mean that that shirt is low in quality or that shirt is not that good. It means as compared to the other shirts, this shirt has good quality. Along with that, it has really good uh, price range. Like you can easily afford it at a very nice price range, as well as it has a good quality. So that is the meaning of it. So meaning will be expensive, and the other meaning is reasonably priced. Okay, so I will be giving an example. My mom bought the necklace as it was affordable. Okay, that is a sentence you can use by the help of this word affordable. Also you can use this word in the past task 2 section, where you can talk about affordability of the means of transport. So whenever we use our own vehicle, it is not that affordable, we have to look for the fuel prices. But when you're using a public transport, it is usually affordable. But coming to the second one, that is hassle. But we can say using a public transport is a really real hassle. If you prefer your own vehicle, then you can use this word there. Using a public vehicle is really a hassle, which means very irritating and inconvenient. That means you have to wait for a long time for that public transport, and also when you get inside the public transport, it has a lot of rush and people might be not that good to you. So it is a real hassle. But when it comes to your own vehicle, it is very convenient, so you can use it at any time. So that is the one thing which you can use when you are talking about your own vehicle. Then you can use commute. Commute means going from one place to another or traveling a distance. Okay, so here the meaning is given as traveling some distance between one's home and place to work regularly. So traveling a particular distance is called as commute. So while commuting, you can also use the word as travel, or all these words have a similar meaning. So commute is a better word for it. So when you say I have to commute a really long distance from my home to my workplace every day, so I prefer public transport. Okay, that word will be very helpful for you when you're explaining this in the part 2 section. Next is negligence. Negligence is a word which we not usually use in our day-to-day life, but we all know the meaning of it. That is failure to take a proper care over something. So it is not mistake. Negligence is not directly related to mistake. Mistake is something which we do without being aware of, but negligence is something which we usually do even if we are aware, but we take a risk and we are not that much cautious about it, then it is called as negligence. So Mary's negligence led to the accident. That means Mary was not careful enough. That is the reason of that accident. Okay, so negligence means we are not that, if a person is not that much careful, it is being considered as negligent. Okay, next, last vocabulary word which you're going to use here in this cue card is comfortable or comfort. So traveling to any of this public transport might not be that much comfortable, but yet it is very cheap and it is very affordable. You can say it is very affordable. Moreover, it is very easy to access. Public transports are very easy to access, so that is also one thing you can say in that situation. But when it comes to your own personal vehicle, you can add the word called as comfort. That means traveling in our own vehicle is very comfortable. We are not supposed to wait for a long time for public transport, and we are not supposed to stand a long time to wait for the public transport. So in that way, you can use the word comfort there. Okay, yes. So an example is also given here, that is Rose loved working from home as it provides a comfort and convenience. So comfort and convenience goes side by side. So you can use both words there. Okay, yes. So I hope that these vocabulary words are clear to you. We have used the word affordable, hassle, commute, negligence, and comfortable. So you can see here in this question, all these words whichever we have been using or whichever we are being looking forward from the past few minutes are easily usable in the task 2. Okay, that is this question. In this question, you can easily use all these words and you can create a meaningful sentence there. So I don't think that there will be any doubt. So if you have anything, you can please post it in the chat box. I'm really glad to explain each and everything to you all. And I've been getting a lot of questions in chat box in the previous few minutes, and I hope I was able to clear everything to all of you. So if you still have any doubts, you can ask me here. Okay, so this is some of the questions that you will be getting after the part 2 section during the part 3, that is the follow-up questions that you're getting. So one of the questions we are going to relate here, one of the questions that we are going to talk about here is related to the transport itself. So what forms of transport do you prefer? How do you decide the transport to use for a particular journey? Okay, this is a question that you might be getting during this follow-up questions. So what form of transport do you prefer, and how do you decide what transport to use for a particular journey? So when you're answering these kind of questions, you can use a complex sentence. So a proper complex sentence or an example of a complex sentence is given in your screen. So this is a possible answer. It is not a definite answer. You are supposed to give the answer according to your understanding. It is not at all supposed to be this the answer you are going to give. So the answer will be something like, I would rather travel by train than bus or plane because you can see the countryside and you can walk around. I cycle in fine weather for short distances, but for long distances or if the weather is bad, I go by car. So these are the two possible answers. Either if you are not convenient going through any what we can say cycle or any kind of a public transport, you can usually use traveling by air by using airplane. So that is a common answer. That will be a possible answer for that question. So in that case, you can use a sentence called like, I would rather travel by train than bus, or I would rather travel by plane than train. In that way also you can answer that question. Okay, so that is a possible answer. So this is a structure of a complex sentence that you're going to use in the examination, which will help you to clearly portray your ideas during that examination. Okay, so I hope this answer is also clear to you all. Okay, next one. This is another question. So choose two different forms of transport and compare the advantages and disadvantages. Remember to develop your comments. Consider convenience, safety, price, and effect on the environment. So you will not get this kind of a question in the follow-up question section, but it is a kind of question in which we have to describe a lot of things and you have to put comparison while speaking it. Okay, so the example given here: although planes are much faster than helicopters, they need much larger space to land in. So this is a complex sentence structure that you're going to use there. Although planes are much faster than helicopters, they need a much larger space to land in. So you can see here the usage of the word although. Okay, the usage of this word although had made it a complex sentence. Then they are using this comma, and after that they are also connecting this word with they need a much larger space to land in. Okay, so that makes this sentence as a complex structure. And talking about possible answers of this question, so you can see here cars are far more convenient than buses because you can go from your home to your destination without changing. That means when you are going in a bus, you have to change a lot of bus if you are traveling for a long distance. But when it comes to cars, usually we don't have to change a lot. We can go it in a one stretch, and it is very convenient for all of us. And talking about the next possible answer, that is trains have a very good safety record for better. Okay, the spelling is wrong here. It is better. Okay, the spelling is wrong. So for better than cars, far better than cars. And the next one is much cheaper to travel by bus than by car if you consider all the costing of driving. So these are some of the possibilities. If you are preferring for public transport, you can go for this next one, that is the third answer. It's much cheaper to travel by bus than by car. And if you are considering your own car, and if you are going to go with that kind of an answer, you can use the first answer, that is cars are far more convenient than buses. Okay, so you can either go with any of the answers. No, nothing is like nothing is like a wrong answer here. You can always switch the answers and you can give the answer according to your understanding. So yes, that is all about the answer of that question. I hope that this one is also clear to you all. If there's any problem related to understanding a word or the structure of the word, you can easily ask me in the chat box. I'll be really happy to explain everything to you. Okay, so I hope that today's session was really helpful for you all. We have completed all and each and every individual parts of this second part of the speaking subtest, and I hope all the strategies are very helpful for you all. And I would like to make sure that you all understood these vocabulary words, because usually where we lack in the examination is in the section of vocabulary as well as sentence construction. So it is very important to understand the vocabulary part and to understand it properly before going for the examination, and use it in your day-to-day speaking so that you will be able to easily excel the examination whenever you get a chance to go for. Okay, so that is all for the today's session, and I would like to wind up the session, and we will be having another session the next week. So thank you everybody for joining this session.